I was in study with some priests. They sort of pish-poshed me. I was in England studying with some priests, and they were just sort of like, everything that you Americans think you know is so foolish. Like, America was obviously founded by Freemasons. And now I'm really understanding, like, yes, you had these Freemason lodges that came over, the Scottish Rite, B'nai B'rith, and they were the reason behind the Civil War. They were the reason, but they were literally fighting for control of America. And the way that they do this is very similar to what we're seeing today. There's this kind of mainstreamed lie. I mean, if you ask Americans, oh, it was just the tea tax was too high. And this is what we did. We started throwing it out in the harbor, and we said, we're ready to go to war. Now that I say it, it sounds so stupid.
Sounds kind of dumb, don't it? Sounds kind of dumb.
Basic.
Like, I know it was a couple hundred years ago, but people were people.
What? How much is this tea cost? Oh, no. Paul Revere, the British are coming. It's actually
Just stop.
It's
Just stop.
So childish.
And it's gay. It's gay. It's gay. It's gay.
Yeah.
It's implausible. It is fake and gay.
You literally, now that I'm getting into the Freemasonry.
Is it any wonder that a country founded on a fake and gay mythology would have as its primary export, just a couple of hundred years later, sodomy as a condition of foreign aid? Is it so surprising? No, it's not. Not to me.
You all know she's married to a Brit. She had a British guy on the channel there, and they're basically saying that Masons were the big influence within our founding. I mean, Nicole, what is she talking about? First of all, there's no data showing there was some grand Masonic plot in the founding of America. What do you think?
If she really thinks this nation was founded because tea tax was too high, I need her to go back to third grade. I need her just to go back to elementary school. She's got children. Pick up one of their books and read. I get that, it's clickbait, it's rage bait, especially on the 4th of July. She's got to get her numbers up. But let me tell you, there's going to be a date coming up real soon where she's going to get the full lesson on what American jurisprudence looks like when she has to go to court in Delaware, of all places. Significant to George Washington. There we go. To Delaware to find out whether or not she will be held to account for the trash that she's been saying about Brigitte Macron. It's coming very quickly. It is coming very quickly. Tea is the least of your damn concerns. And it wasn't a tea tax the only reason. It was the final reason. You know more American history than that. This whole thing, just looking at the image of these two people sitting there having that conversation, they sound drunk. They sound like, somebody's been hitting the bong. I mean, like, there's something wrong with both of them. He's got his shirt unbuttoned down to his belly button and sunglasses on, and she's sitting in her turtleneck and a jacket. What the hell's going on here? I mean, I just feel uncomfortable listening to them. Like you're going to lose brain cells just trying to understand their point of view. These two people, and I don't know if he's a citizen. She's, clearly a citizen. I don't know what they have going on, but, your bitter Betty is showing. It really is. This is a time to celebrate this nation. And if you can't say something nice, be quiet. Why don't you just figure out something? You could talk about Tyler Robinson. You can talk about what's going on in England. You can continue to bash, Christians. You can do all of that. But can we just have one damn day where you're not putting both of your feet in your mouth and wiggling your toes around? Can we just have one day of that? It would be so nice. So nice.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
First of all, I don't know. I mean, I know some of what she may be implying, but overall, this was a goofy conversation. But not only that, we talked earlier about these ingrates here, Americans who are just totally to show their ingratitude. To me, that conversation, it really, what's the word I want to say? It really gave a finger again. I've been giving fingers all night. It gave a finger to the Declaration of Independence. This, not just historic, but it's a beautiful document in and of itself. If you just read through it, the case is laid out for why we are claiming independence from Britain, from the king. It laid it out step by step, the treaties, the causes, what must be done, things like that. So it really just dumbs that down, the Declaration of Independence. It makes it look like it's nothing but a sheet of dirty toilet tissue. And again, these ingrates, Milo, I forget where he's from. He's from the UK, I think, originally.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's here on also, again, earning and thriving, if you will, go back to Britain, stay there, be under the monarchy, if you will, or the parliamentary system. But here in America, we have literal sweat, blood, and tears from our founders on up to our current military today. So to me, that conversation, it was not just goofy, it was a sign of ingratitude, but it was just disrespectful to our country. It was just disrespectful to our foundings. Yes, there were Masons involved. Many or some of our founders were Freemasons, and all through history. So what? Our founders and the founding documents that were laid out, the Tea Party was just one pivotal incident in the whole Revolutionary War. So this was just disrespectful. Again, these are the people who live and breathe on American soil to their benefit at the highest pinnacle, the highest stakes, but yet they have the audacity to downgrade it every little turn they get. Go.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking. They're parasites on the left and some on the right, folks.
Absolutely.
You know, a diverse group of Christian influenced patriots built this nation, okay, on biblical principles, Enlightenment ideas. All right. So Freemasonry, it did play a role for some, but it certainly was not the driving force, as she was trying to say. All right. We know that I think it was 9 of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons. Just 9. Okay. Most of the people who signed it were Protestant. You know, she hates Protestants. She hates that now. Okay. They were Protestants or deists with strong Christian roots. All right. This is what we're talking, biblical covenants, not lodge rituals, as she was trying to imply. All right. But this is why it's so important to know our history. You know, they're not trying to teach us in school. We got to know our history and understand what occurred. All right. Now, again, we're not saying there were no Freemasonries. We know there was some Freemasons. There were Masonic ties. All right. I think George Washington was a Mason. Okay. But the key architects, like James Madison, were not. All right. And he is called the father of the Constitution. Where was that? Why didn't she mention that? Because she's trying to paint a narrative. All right. For clicks. We all know right now, Candace Owens, her majority of her audience are no longer conservative. Now she has a large Islamic audience. She has globalists. All right. And she has leftists. And so she is now trying to move that algorithm. She's playing to that algorithm, and it no longer makes sense to bear to the truth.
This is another thing. I think I saw, I don't know, she went to Russia recently, and I know Tucker has gone there. What is this? And again, Americans can travel anywhere, any country that would you travel. I think, see the world. I'm not even anti going to Russia just for a tour or whatever, but they come back with such dripping, salivating salvos for Russia. And maybe it is, I've never been. So maybe it is a beautiful country. Maybe it is clean, but as if that is the whole basis to run a country, just on how clean it is and how beautiful it is. Yes, we have dirty here and homelessness. I get it. But what about the system of government there? How is it different and anti, if you will, our U.S. values, our U.S. founding values, Christian values, Judeo-Christian values? They don't talk about that. So that's a little
part of it, Shelley.
Yeah.
We talked about we all know that Alexander Dugin, who is a historian in Russia, big philosophical person in Russia. He is behind much of this. He spoke many, many years ago about somehow capturing the right, particularly the Christian right in America, and causing destruction and all kinds of issues on the right in America in order to add to its collapse. So you have the communists on the left, and you have these Duganites, or what they're calling them, on the right, that are using patriotism and playing on, how we as Christian conservatives, as conservatives, are so tired of what we're seeing on the left. They're playing to that, and trying to cause some type of crack in America. It's all for the destruction of America. And they're using people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others to do it.
You know, the strange thing about it is, and when people talk foolishness, I allow them their moment because they worked real hard. The mental gymnastics it takes to try to make that point, you know, I'm going to give her credit for the effort that she burned, but it worked, right? You can complain about the founding all you want, but here you are, little skinny Black woman married to a white British man, living here in the United States, making god awful money, doing very little work with hints and innuendo. It worked. You're a living testament to it working. So I don't care if it was 3 Klansmen, 2 ducks, and a bald-legged dog. It makes no difference. It worked. You're a living testament to how great America is. Her, Sonny Hostin, Jasmine Crockett, especially when you hear all of these Black people coming for this nation, I just want to remind them, freedom. The freedom that we enjoy in this nation is not enjoyed by people who look like us across this globe. There are people who look like us who are enslaved by the very same countries that pay you through their shell companies to be a social media influencer. Let's do all of that. We're going to call it out because they don't write us no checks. I don't give a damn. Let's do it. There are other nations who want to influence our influencers to influence you.
Right.
Follow that line of logic. To plant the seeds that America is a horrible country, that no person who looks like us, sounds like us is getting ahead. And we're being downtrodden by this, you know, quote unquote white man. Now I know a bunch of white men and they're not holding anybody down. In fact, they're all out here doing what I do, what KJ does, what Shelly does, what you in the chat do. We go to work every day to pay our bills, to pinch a little something to the side so we can have a nice life and provide some nice things for our loved ones. This is what Americans do. We keep our heads down and work. But while we're doing that, the very same people that KJ was talking about, these fringe lunatics on both sides are plotting to destroy us. So we no longer have the luxury of being blind Americans, just work and do good things and take care of your neighbor and everything's going to be okay. That's behind us. We got to keep our eyes open, head on a swivel to protect our children, to protect our churches, to protect our nation. We no longer can live like it's 1950 anymore, folks. We can't. So when you see foolishness, call it out, stamp it out. Yeah. Call it out, stamp it out. And it doesn't matter whose face it comes from.
Right. Yuri Bezmenov, I think that's his name, the Russian, he told us this years ago that this how this communist takeover, a former Russia, what, CIA, whatever, Russia person. He told us this, and I'm going to watch that again tonight because he said these things. And this is what I mean earlier about whoever gave us a comment about the military not being taken over. We're being taken over from within. It's not even the military fighting necessarily. This is what we mean. So.
Yeah, it's conspiracists and globalists. Okay, they love painting America as a secret society project for what? To downplay our biblical roots. This is, folks, if we don't start calling this what it is, it's a spiritual warfare that we have going on. All right. Now, Freemasons were a networking fraternity for some elites. All right. Yes, they were useful in the fight against the crown. All right. But the founders, most of them were Bible-believing Christians and classical liberals who rejected tyranny, not building some occult new world order. All right. But this is what they have to do. Remember, from Plymouth Rock, the covenant, in God we trust. All right. This republic stands on faith. All right. Not what she's talking about. Now, I'm not saying that wasn't here, but I'm not going to allow some revisionist Masonic wash to take over our history, because it's not true.